Today's class is on what? What is this? Oral cavity and oropharynx. So, examination of oral cavity and oropharynx. Oral cavity and oropharynx. Do you know the anatomy of that? Don't think examination of oral cavity and oropharynx is very easy, because you have to go systematically. Otherwise, there is chance that you may miss certain parts. So that should be avoided. And also, the patient will feel a bit worried or apprehensive while you are going to examine the oral cavity. The patient will think that it may cause pain, or the patient will be ashamed to show the teeth to you. So you should make the patient comfortable. You should tell the procedure, explain the procedure to the patient, and also tell her that what is the time it is going to take. That has to be explained in detail. Otherwise, the patient will be a bit confused. The complaints of the patient for diseases of the oral cavity will be, there will be pain, especially if there is ulcers. Pain will be a complaint. Then there will be xerostomia, because all this parotid gland opens through the Stensen's duct, and submandibular gland opens to the floor of mouth through the Wharton's duct. So all these salivary glands will open into the oral cavity. So if there is any abnormality, it may cause xerostomia or dryness of the mouth. Then there will be trismus, difficulty in opening the mouth because of the TMJ involvement or any muscles of mastication affected, or the pterygoid muscle involvement. All this will cause trismus or difficulty in opening. Then there will be difficulties in taste sensation. Anterior two-third of tongue especially carries taste bud for the sweet, sour and salt sensation. So there will be disorders of taste. If there is altered taste sensation, then it will be associated with flavor disorders or the smell disorders. All this will be there. So the common complaints are pain, xerostomia or dryness of the mouth, then difficulty in opening or trismus, clicking sensation, or pain in the ear, or rhabdomyalgia is also another complaint. So all this, with all this in keeping in mind, you have to examine in a systematic way. So this starts with the lip. Your lip has got an outer border or a cutaneous border outside this part, and an inner part or the mucosal part inside, and also it has got a vermilion border. These are the structures to be examined inside the oral cavity, and this should be in a systematic manner also. So in the lips, first you examine with the lips closed. In the closed lips, this is a vermilion border and also the outer surface or the cutaneous surface, and ask the patient to open the mouth and invert the inner side or the labial mucosa of the lower lip and also of the upper lip has to be examined. Then comes the buccal mucosa. That is by using a tongue depressor, lax tongue depressor. Of the other side of the tongue depressor has got a curve like this. So ask the patient to open the mouth and keep the retract the cheek with this part of the tongue depressor. So you can see the buccal mucosa. So in the buccal mucosa, you have to specifically look for the opening of the parotid duct. Okay, this part, it comes opposite to the upper second or third molar. Okay, in the upper part comes the opening of the parotid duct, parotid gland. Okay, so that has to be looked for, and then come look gums and the teeth. Okay, so it is also seen with the after retracting the buccal mucosa. Look for the gums and teeth, and the teeth are represented in the case sheet like this: upper left, right, lower left and lower right. So the first named is the one is the central incisor or the middle incisor. Then comes the lateral incisor, canine, premolar, first premolar, second premolar, the first molar, second molar and third molar. It comes from 1 to 8. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Right? And on the opposite side also this comes. So the first incisor, second incisor, canine, first molar, first premolar, second premolar, first molar, second molar and third molar, like that. And the lower dentures also you have to name like this. And this here also. If anyone is missing, think that the third molar, the canine teeth on this side is missing, that you have to represent like this. Okay. If the patient is edentulous, no teeth persisting, it will be like this. Okay. There is no need to put as 0. If we are not writing it on the case sheet, it is taken as 0 or missing. Okay. It is like this. So this is the way how you have to represent your teeth on the case sheet. So gums and teeth, and also specify if there is any caries teeth or any broken teeth also. After that, look for the gingivo-labial and gingivo-buccal sulcus. From the gingiva, this part, going to the labium. From the gingiva to the tongue part, it comes the gingivo-labial sulcus, and on this side comes the gingivo-buccal sulcus. Then the anterior two-third of tongue. The tongue is divided into anterior two-third and the posterior one-third by this circumvallate papilla. That's this into an anterior two-third and a posterior one-third. You cannot see posterior one-third completely. Anyway, you can examine the anterior two-third. That anterior two-third comes in the oral cavity and the posterior one-third goes along with the oropharynx. Okay, so that you have to mention. And also look for, ask the patient to protrude the tongue and see the lateral part of tongue. That is also very important. And then look for the hard palate. And the soft palate is included in the oropharynx. So hard palate is in the oral cavity. Okay, oral cavity. The floor of mouth. After that, ask the patient to, this part comes in the floor of mouth. That is, ask the patient to you use 2 tongue depressors. One tongue depressor, you retract the cheek, and with other tongue depressor, keep the tongue upwards, retracted, so that you can see the floor of mouth. So in the floor of mouth, look for any swellings, any ulcers, and also look for this part. The central part of tongue is called, comes as a frenulum, lingual. Okay, lingual frenulum. This is the sublingual papilla. And on the summit of sublingual papilla opens the duct of submandibular salivary gland. All this you have to examine. And then the retromolar tribune, otherwise called the coffin's corner. What is that? It comes here. Here there is a triangular area posterior to the third molar, which overlies the ascending ramus of mandible. Okay, that is called the retromolar tribune. Retromolar, posterior to the third molar, overlying the ascending ramus of mandible. You have to look that area specifically, and if possible palpate that area also, because the malignancy can happen in this part. Usually it goes infiltrating or indurating into the ascending ramus of mandible, periosteal infiltration, and it goes posteriorly, and in later stages only it will present as a trismus. So there is chance that if you are not specifically looking into the retromolar trigone, you will miss that malignancy or any lesion if present. And again, there are some normal structures in the oral cavity that can be mistaken for diseases or lesions. One is plica fimbriata. So on either side of this frenulum linguae, there can be mucosal folds. We call it as plica fimbriata. You must have seen such cases. Even some of you will be having this plica fimbriata. That's a normal condition. And second, this circummalar papilla may be hypertrophied, and sometimes the patient will feel that and come to you and a phobia of cancer. Okay, so hypertrophy of the circummalar papilla or the taste bud on the posterior one-third of tongue hypertrophy is lingual papilla is normal. So that is second normal condition that can be mistaken for a disease. Some patients, this opening of the Stenson's duct on the buccal mucosa will appear as a raised surface. Okay, so Stenson's duct, that is also normal. Okay, raised area, that is also normal. Another one is fissure tongue. This is also normal. Multiple grooves seen on the tongue. Okay, on the dorsum and also sometime on the lateral surface of the tongue, fissure tongue. This is normal, and this is normally seen in 2 to 5% of the population. Okay, so that is fissure tongue. And the fifth one, and this Fordyce granules are ectopic sebaceous glands. They are seen normally in some patients, especially on the lateral aspect of the lip and also on the buccal mucosa, and they appear as raised granules of 1 to 3 millimeters in diameter. That is also normal. Varicosities on the lateral surface of the tongue, there can be enlarged veins can be seen, varicosity, especially in older persons, and they will blanch on applying pressure on that area. So that is also normal, and in these areas, varicosities of the veins. So all these are normal conditions. Okay. Remember, along with the floor of mouth examination is bidigital palpation. So that is to differentiate between a salivary gland, especially a submandibular salivary gland, and also a lymph node. Okay. So gloved finger, one finger of one hand kept on the floor of mouth and another on the floor of on outside the neck, and you palpate in between. Look for the mobility and also presence of any submandibular stones. You can beautifully pick with your bidigital palpation. That you have to remember. And in the oropharynx, again the common complaints. What are the common complaints? One is pain. Pain on swallowing. Again, referred otalgia. Referred otalgia was already explained in an earlier class on referred otalgia itself. It's a short note, commonly asked short note. And pain, and another one, difficulty in swallowing. If there is any problem with the tongue and also with the tonsils, acute tonsillitis or in tonsillar malignancy, all this present as pain and also difficulty in, more than a difficulty, it will be a painful swallowing. Odynophagia. Painful swallowing is odynophagia, and there will be change in voice. What change in voice? There will be hot potato voice. And exophytic lesions of the oropharynx usually present as an hot potato voice. Acute pain associated with odynophagia, and also there will be a change in voice. Okay, all this. So anterior pillar, you have to examine this is the anterior pillar. Then the tonsils. The tonsil is a lymphoid group of lymphoid tissue lying between the anterior and the posterior pillar. That is in the tonsillar fossa, that already taken in a earlier class, and you can grade the tonsil according to the level of anterior pillar to grade 1, 2, 3 and 4. Grade 1 is medial surface of the tonsil seen behind the anterior pillars, and grade 2 is seen at the level of anterior pillar, and grade 3 it is projecting beyond the level of anterior pillar, and if it is seen almost touching in the midline, it becomes grade 4. So in an enlarged or a hypertrophied tonsil, it will be something between grade 3 and grade 4. And in adult or atrophic tonsil, it will be at grade 1. Okay. Then comes the posterior pillar. This is a posterior pillar. And the soft palate and uvula is the next one. You have to look for the mobility by asking the patient to say ah. So you can see the mobility of the soft palate. Then comes the posterior wall of oropharynx. This area is the posterior wall of oropharynx. Then posterior third of tongue. Usually you cannot see the posterior third of tongue by simply examining or using a tongue depressor. You cannot see the posterior third. It is usually examined either with an indirect laryngoscopic mirror or by palpation. For palpation, you can keep a tongue depressor in between. Ask the patient to open the mouth and keep a tongue depressor. Otherwise, the patient can close his mouth and can happen to your fingers, especially in children. So you keep a tongue depressor like this, and with gloved finger, ask the patient to keep the tongue inside and palpate the posterior 1/3. That all in a systematic manner from medial to lateral or from central to lateral to medial. Then you look for any presence of any swellings or induration, and also while taking the fingers out, look for the bleeding or any presence of any mucus or anything on the tip of your gloved fingers. That is how you palpate the posterior 1/3 of tongue. Never ask the patient to protrude, but ask the patient to keep the tongue inside the oral cavity. Then only you palpate. Okay. So that is about the posterior third of tongue. Okay. So this is the structures to be examined in the oropharynx: anterior pillar, tonsil, posterior pillar, soft palate, posterior wall of oropharynx, and posterior third of tongue. And up to this part. Okay. This area comes the oropharynx. So tonsil, and in between these two, from the epiglottis to the tonsil goes a glossoepiglottic fold, and here comes the lingual tonsils also. That also you have to see, lingual tonsil. While palpation, you have to look for. So I explained about the common complaints in the oral cavity and also in the oropharynx, and also the steps of examination, structures to be examined in this oral cavity and oropharynx. This is very important. You have to examine systematically. Though it seems so simple, systematic examination is needed. Otherwise, there is chance you miss some diseases. Okay.